वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So we were going over the uniqueness of Advaita Vedanta, what it communicates and how it communicates it. So what we were looking at last time was a discussion or a dialogue between a Vedantin. Advaita Vedantin means of that Advaita Vedantin. There's no Dvaita Vedantin. So between a Vedantin and a non-Vedantin. And then the non-Vedantin says that, no, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work. There's no results for it. How can you have a result by just knowing something? Because what we see in life is, you know something first, you get to know something, and then you have to try to achieve it. And you don't achieve it until you do something to reach it, and that's how you get results. This is what we all know. And you are coming up with an exception. No, absolutely not. You just by knowing you are going to become what you want to be. So there we asked the questionnaire, let's segment your questions into 3 parts. One is, are you asking that by knowing something, how can you get results? So this is called phalam. So this is the section of phalam. The second section is, how will you know that you have arrived? What is the proof for it? So this is called pramanam. And the third one is, how do you get there? How do you achieve this sense of fullness? So this is what is called sadhana. So we say, let us look into each one of those 3 things one at a time. So we saw at first that as far as the phalam is concerned, we say that if in fact you have made an error about recognizing something, then by the correction of the error, all the imposition and your wrong impressions about something are removed and you are released. And so the examples given are that of rope and a snake, etc., etc. So we said this is exactly how it is, that if you don't understand the reality of something, then you come up with some emotional issues that are overwhelming. And it may not be true. And in fact, if it is not true, somebody has to point that out and all the emotional issues that you were burdened with go away instantly. So this is the first thing that we talked about. Then in the last section, we were talking about the pramanam. This is really an important, a very path-breaking explanation of pramanam. So there we said that you are right. We do not act on anything until we have a proof of the existence of something. You cannot really try to even achieve it. You don't even employ any sadhana until you know that there is something here. If there is nothing there, then you don't need any proof also. But if there is something there, and we are also trying to achieve something which is, there needs to be a proof. And we don't understand how that can be proved. This is a very big discussion in the Brahma Sutra, where it is saying that, I have cited this from the Kenopanishad, very beautiful section in Kenopanishad, which it says, Viditat aviditat adhi. So what it means is that if you look at our experiences of life, they are all based on what are the things that are known. So what is visible, what can be visible, it doesn't have to be visible right now, but there is a possibility of something happening, of being visible, and I go through all my life's experiences based on things that are experienceable. They have the possibility of being, they used to be. This is what all life is all about. This is what's called vidita. Vidita means known. And if there is something which is not known, so this is how we can divide things. Either things are known or they are not known. And not only not known, they are not knowable. It's impossible. It's just totally impossible that you cannot even know it. That's how the classification is. Either a thing should be knowable or known, or it is unknown and unknowable. So, like for example, if you say that, the simple example is that of a square circle. So this is what is called asat, or the horns on a human being. That's not possible. No, we don't see that. And so you cannot say, I'm looking for, maybe we have not explored all the human beings on this earth. Maybe if we keep exploring, we might find somebody that has horns. And nobody looks for horns on a human being. We look for horns on a cow and other animals, deer, the male deer, but not in human beings. So this is what is called unknowable. So Kenopanishad says, now the self, the Atma, your own reality, which of these categories is it in? Is it in known, knowable? Or is it in unknown, unknowable? So this we will see more detail later. I think of myself as a, when you say when you say I, this is a visible I, right? It is. It's a visible I. Visible I means, so this is what is called aham pratyaya. So this is called the I thought. The I thought is there. You say, I went, yesterday I went there. So there is in that sentence, I went there is something away from you, but I went there is also a meaningful thing. So you look upon yourself as I'm old, I'm happy, I am young, I am depressed, I am relieved. So you're saying I all the time. And so this is visible, right? It's everybody, you cannot even have a life without saying I did this, I did, everything is based on I. It's interesting. Whenever I think about this I, so when I was growing up in my home in Amritsar, I think I told you that my grandfather was a teacher of Vedanta, and I am not sure yet because he was an Arya Samaji. He was an Arya Samaj, but he was also a teacher of. So I'm a little unclear about exactly what he was studying because he passed away before I became aware of all the spiritual knowledge, and so I never had a chance to really discuss that. The last experience I had with him was when I had decided to come to the US at the age of 22, which surprised everybody, and my family was not happy about it. Everybody thought you were going to be gone and so on. So my grandfather, this is my last experience with him, tried to reach out to me and said, my young fellow, you're making a mistake. You have this kind of like a dream in your eyes that I'm going to go to this Western country and I've heard a lot about this, etc., etc. The fact of the matter is, every place in the earth is the same. Is the same human being. We try to reason all of that out. I remember this so well. He was saying, there's just stay where you are and just grow within it. Why do you have to leave everything and look for something that you're, So, and I was just saying, I used to call him Bauji. So I said, Bauji, it's, I understand your viewpoint, but this is what I want to do. And I'm pretty set on it doing it. So he tried his best. This was my last experience in 1962. Yeah, 62. I came here in 64, or 63, sorry, 63. I came here in January of 64. But the earliest memory I have of him, he used to have lots of books and he would study on his own upstairs. He had a small room and he would just study there. That's number one. And he would have a lot of swamis come into the home for discussions. He himself became a teacher. But I remember we were continuously visited by swamis. And sometimes I would be sitting there listening to them, not understanding one thing or the absolutely nothing. Or sometimes I'd be outside, just eavesdropping to see what they're talking about. And what I'm saying is that I remember this, the prevalent discussion of ours about I. Who is this I? And I remember talking to my my Mamaji uncle, his son, because my father and mother were living in Bihar. I didn't stay with them for a long time. So I used to discuss with Mamaji, and I said, what are they talking about? I all the time. And he says, this is all spiritual stuff and it's not easy to understand. So don't worry about it. It's okay. But I used to say, what are you talking about I? I know what I is. So going back to the Kenopanishad, it says the I that you talk about, is it visible, which it appears to be, because you are very familiar with yourself. In fact, you cannot be without who you are, right? Every experience starts with you. So you're very familiar with your own presence as an experiencer. I am doing this, I'm going to go do that, this is what I ate, this is what I'm studying. I is there. This is called the visible I. So as we will see later, not later, but we know that already, that the visible I also is not the real I. Because the visible I means the I that you and I think about ourselves also is a false I. It's not the real I. How do we say that? Because this is what is called segmented I. It is really more of a role that you are playing. That is not the real I. Really? I'm not the real I. I think this is me. What else do you think I am? No, we have to do the analysis and say the reason this visible I, I'm just calling it visible I, expressed I, is not the real I, is because if you look at if you analyze its existence and its properties and so on, it is not the real I. Why not? Because this visible I is only there during your waking state. Life is all about waking state. What do you mean? There is no other thing other than the waking state. No. You haven't thought about it enough. There is another state where there is a different visible I. That in the dream state, the visible I in the dream state is totally different. And it's not as though, it's, excuse me, it's not as though you're postulating something that which is not there. You and I, every day, every night, we assume a different I identity. So that means that the waking I, the visible I during the waking state, is really just one segment, one possibility. So this is what is called Vishwa. Then there is Tejasa. Tejasa I is a different I. And then there is an absence of I. It's called Pragya, as we saw, in which you don't have a visibility of the I, but you are still there. So therefore, the I that we talk about is different from the visible I. So in this discussion that takes place, the questioner can say, okay, there are only two possibilities of things being there. One is a visible, something which is vidita. And if the vidita is not there, then it is Not there. It is avidita, not knowable. So the Vedanta says, and then in Kenopanishad it says, Viditat aviditat adi. There is something very unique, which is, it is neither visible nor invisible. Something. So, if it is neither not visible nor invisible, then it must not be there. No. It's different from visible, different from non-visible, but it is there. That is the Atma. So in pursuing that line of thinking, we said, look at the proof required. This is what we studied last week, the pramana. And now you think about, this is really a very crucial point of really thinking about ourselves, having a, what is it, the vichara, the contemplation, and ultimately the jnanam, is this I is so real, the real I, not the visible I, not the Vishwa and the Prajna and Tejasa, but the Turiya, the real I, is so real that it doesn't need any proof. This is, in my view, we want to just focus in on what is the core of the teaching of Vedanta. This is it. You have to see this yourself. That I am Sat Swarupa. Sat Swarupa means I don't need a proof. I don't need anybody to prove. I don't need myself to prove. I am. And in fact, this is so amazing. That out of all possibilities of life, all experiences of life, all everything that is happening, could happen, did happen, great, not so great, problems, etc., etc., the whole shebang of experiences. There is nothing like you, the Sat Swarupa. So please let us lift our drishti, our vision, because we're so used to seeing ourselves as a very limited, very vulnerable, afflicted being, that such a kind of vision escapes me. I don't even enter this. This is the problem. This is the issue in life. Not that I am not free. I am already free. I'm already Sat. But I just don't see it. And we will go into that. Why is it that I don't see it? But let me complete this thesis that we started last week, which is really absolutely a crucial thing. That I am the only entity, the only vastu in the entire creation. Each one of us, not just you and I, but each one of us, the very core of our being, is the only vastu which doesn't need any proof. See it. This is a fact. We don't see it, that's all. So I'll come to it. Why is it that we don't see it? But at least be aware of what the core issue is. And not only the Sat Swarupa, which is very beautiful. Not only that I am, I know that I am. Right? Because you and I are not rocks, because the rock also is. It may not last forever, but at least for a long time. It is. It's the closest thing that comes to beingness without really breaking down. But I'm not a rock. So if I say I am, I should know that I am. And I know that I am. Again, for knowing that I am, two aspects of it. One is that I am, and the second one that I know that I am. This is very important. I don't need a proof for that as well. So in both cases, Sat Swarupa and Chit Swarupa, Satyam Jnanam, I don't need a proof. And it turns out that Satyam, Jnanam, Chit, and Sat and Chit, Satyam Jnanam, is Anantam. It has, I don't see it having a property of limitation. The fact that I am. Now, if I have doubts about it, it is because I associate it with my beingness with the body-mind complex. And so I superimpose the body-mind complex on me. That's a separate issue. We'll come to that later. But if you were looking at your own reality that does not need any proof, it extends to the fact that I don't see an end to it. So this is what is called Satchidananda. So it's interesting that this is a very revealing, beautiful thing, honestly. That for the reality that I am, the complete reality, there is nothing else other than Satchidananda, Satyam Jnanam Anantam. There's nothing. That doesn't require any proof. So this is where we ended last week, if you remember. So now the question is, if this is the case, I'm still thinking about it. You're saying, I promise I will focus on it in my mind and think about it and understand it and so on. But then I have a question. Then why is it that I don't understand this? You are saying, this Vedanta is saying that the reality of myself does not need any proof. Then I should be done. Why is it that I'm not done? What is the reason for it? So here, the acharyas say, the only reason is, believe it or not, you have not thought about it. You haven't thought about it. And you don't have the grounds to think about it. The ground to think about it has to be provided by the teaching, even though it is a fact. Because you don't know how to even think about it. So here it's interesting that if you don't know this fact at all, nobody has ever told you this, no possibility of that happening, then one should be excused and it should become reasonable that I didn't know about it, so you cannot think about something that you don't know. The fact that you don't need a proof that you are the Sat Swarupa, Chit Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa, I didn't know about it and so I couldn't think about it, so that one is okay. But the funny part is that even after you're told about it, this is what is happening to us. You know, you studied the Bhagavad Gita, that's however we all have a history of our introduction to lots of people never have this history of introduction to Vedanta. But for those of us that have had a history of introduction to the Vedanta through, Tattva Bodha or some Bhagavad Gita, usually through Bhagavad Gita, some curiosity, because Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be such an important thing. Why is it important? What is it saying? Okay, let me start studying it. So I try to keep a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. So you just look at it and then somehow or the other you get introduced. Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo shosha evacha nitya sarvagata sthanu achaloyam sanatana. So you say nainam chindanti shastrani. Oh, this is what it's saying. Then we look into Sanskrit and what is the word meaning and how is that. And then we say, oh, this is interesting, but I don't know. I have to study some more. And you study some more. You do all of this stuff and so on. Then why is it that I'm not thinking about the fact that I am Satchidanandaha, I don't need a proof, I'm done. I am. I know that I am. And I know that I am without any limits. Why don't I do that? So here the acharyas say, because we are born with a mind and a attitude and ability which is based on trivial things. Trivial things. So we are pretty good at knowing that I'm hungry and what do I need to eat? Where's the food going to come from? When you and I were children, Then we didn't have to get the food ourselves, so we would just rush to our parents and say, Mom, I'm hungry. So we know that. And we are pretty good at how much food to eat, what to eat. Eating is in our knowledge. Then we grew up and then we say, what do I study? What kind of work do I do? Getting married, having children. So this is all I'm just busy with different things. This is what my knowledge extends to. That's what my attitude, my ability, my interest, all of those things are there. So this, I'm used to doing it, and I can accomplish some relatively good things by doing that. I feel satisfied. I go to bed and I'm happy that I did some things. I finished my work. I'm not hungry. I did help my children and others. Everything is okay. I'm happy. That's it. Then when you become unhappy because you did not do everything, then you fulfill the relative tasks in. All I'm saying is that in all of this, even if you are to start studying, you don't know how to do vichara. You don't need you don't do vichara on the enormity of knowing I am Satchidananda. So the acharyas say this is the crux of it. We can go into more details, they say, but the crux of it is you have to develop the mind to appreciate the enormity of this. I think Swami Dayanand was the one who really gave this example, and it's a very beautiful example. And the example which I've explained to you many times, it's really absolutely very applicable to our life, is that if a very poor, kind of like a homeless person who does not have doesn't know where the next meal is going to come from, is visited by someone, say, are you such and such? I need to talk to you. And he said, what do you want to talk to me about? He says, just please sit down. You are the recipient of a $10 million money left over by a distant aunt who had no kids of her own. And when you were young, you were so good to her that she's always had a very particular love for you. And now she has died and she says, please find this guy and give them to $10 million. Swamiji's example was very beautiful. So supposing this happens, then what happens? You tell the person, you're like another one of those shysters that just tries to, I have nothing to give you. What do you want from me? I don't want this, just go away. I said, no, you don't understand. This is a fact. This is a fact. And here's the things. You just go to the bank. It is that $10 million is yours. So first of all, we don't believe it. The same thing happens in Vedanta. Because you're told, you know who you are. And we say, that kind of sounds good, but it doesn't. I don't know. I've got a life to lead. I've got problems. I have to solve them and so on. All this Satchidananda and so on and so forth is just like saying $10 million. I don't understand this. It probably doesn't apply to me. Because I remember in the satsang with Swami Dayanandji, when we would be sitting there, a lot of visitors would come in and they'd all say, Swamiji, you know, you are a very special person. You did all this. I'm just a, householder with problems and so on. I'm not going to, yeah, I can understand this is possible, but not for me. Not for me. So it's exactly like this. So he says, it's not for me, this $10 million, just go away. Let me lead. I'm busy with collecting and some things. So then the person, he says, no, I'm not leaving. You are the one here. Just come to the bank. I'll show it to you. So, and he says, okay, all you wanted was $1,000 or $100 even. Just, okay, this is yours. You see these notes? This is yours. But please, it's the $10 million that you need to get. And you already got it. So then the person says, okay, so maybe I can, all right, then perhaps I can move into an apartment now. Yeah, move into an apartment. More than that, $10 million is a lot of money. So what happens is, this is the example I was giving, that you are so used to just surviving on trivial things. Where's my next meal is going to come from? Do I have a home to live? That the $10 million leaves untouched. You don't appreciate what it really means. Exactly the same thing is our situation. The reason we don't appreciate Satchidananda, I am actually the basis for the whole world. As we will study this is what is called Advaita Vedanta. You are the only reality. Even the whole cosmos does not have that reality. The whole cosmos. The sun and the moon and the stars and the galaxies and powers and bombs and whatever you want to think about. Countries, presidents, they all need you to survive. And you are so crucial for everybody that they don't have the reality. They all come and go. As Swami Akhandananda says so well, and this we will see this again and again. They have, this is what is called, if you can think of it as a thought, a kalpana, in a way, in a kalpana. Okay, so a kalpana means a thought, a review of what is and so on. So what happens is that Atma and Anatma. So Anatma means the entire cosmos that we talked about is what is called Badhita Kalpana. And the Atma, which is Satchidanandaha, is abadita kalpana. If we can call it kalpana here in this context. So there are two things involved. One is a badita kalpana and one is abadita kalpana. Abadita kalpana means one which is satswarupa. You cannot, in fact, this is another way to look at this. You can get rid of everything in life, but you cannot get rid of yourself. This is what is called abadita kalpana. Why? Because you are the only Sat Swarupa there is. Everything else is badita kalpana. Means that it shines, but there has no reality to it. Anything which is a drishya, which is seen, needs you to actualize it, and by itself it does not have its own reality. It's badita. It will just come and frighten you, please you, give you certain experiences, and then go away. But you are still there. Do you see this fact? You know, our Swami Kandananda says this. I've heard the same thing from other acharyas also, but he says, you know, it's very interesting. This comes up a lot in the discussion on the Brahma Sutra, in the Adhyasa Bhashya by Adi Shankara, and the discussion that takes place and so on. Here he says that the facts remaining the same, there are enormous differences between a wise person and a foolish person. Same set of facts are taken differently. How? So it is said that the foolish person says, I see something, therefore it must be true. Yat drishyam tat satyam. This is the view of the foolish person. The view of the wise person is just the opposite. If it is seen, it is asatyam, mithya. If something is seen meaning experienced, not just by the eyes, but through the mind, through all the senses, whatever, how you see things, how you experience things, whatever you see is not true. Same set of facts. How you look at the world depends on whether you have facts at your control, you are wise, or you are foolish. So the word is badita katsatyam, badita kalpana. And the self is abadita kalpana. You are the only thing that does not need any proof, does not need any convincing. You're already there. But the reason is that you don't think about it. A very famous saying in Vedanta, what is it? Avicharita siddham dvaitam. Avicharita Siddham Dvaita means thus this sense of duality here means plurality. Really, plurality is brought into the duality. Because duality is enough to represent plurality. Plurality means that there's a lot of things going on. I'm also one of them. I'm just a small cog in this whole wheel of experiences of life. This view, Dvaitam, Siddham. It is Siddham by Avicharitam, by non-thinking. Foolishness, that's it. You look at things and you feel this must be all real. And it is all because of the fact that you haven't thought about, you haven't done the vichara about your own reality. This is the lesson of Vedanta. And this is where we have to do mananam, because in the beginning you'll say, really? Is that all that I need to see? That doesn't sound plausible. Okay, fine, all right. Keep doing what you're doing. Get some more experiences of life and so on. It's interesting, there is a final door that we all have to go through in our lives. In a way, we are kind of like wandering around, doing this, that, or the other. Just like, for example, I remember, I don't know if I talked about it in this class. I think I talked about it in this class, not the Tuesday class. It's the makeup of an Indian Hindu temple, where there's an outside and then slowly you go inside, and finally you go to the sanctum sanctorum. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, where the vigraha, the deity is. And there's one door to it. You cannot have people entering from all sides and so on. I'm sure that you've gone to these. There may be, I don't know, but the pure design is that there is one door leading to it, and you have to be ushered in, and you have to be quiet, and it is dark, and you have to just stand there and watch the pujari do the puja of the deity. Puja of the deity means that it lights up the deity. And the deity is all in black stone. So there's a reason for it. Because until someone lights it up, the black stone does not become visible. We have my car that I have has a black interior, and sometimes we have black vests or sweaters and so on the seat. I tell you, it is very hard to find it. Sometimes I'll say, no, it's not there. It is there. So the black, because it does not reflect the light, is not visible. So in the pure science of temple building, the deity, the vigraha, is black in color, and the surrounding is also dark. And there is a reason, means it's not easily visible. But the pujari, he takes the lamp and shows the contours of it, and it's very beautiful because they're jewels. the deity is bejeweled by all these lovely jewels. And then you begin to see the beauty of it. Exactly the same thing is about the Atma. It's not visible. Not visible, but someone says, oh my God, here, think about it, be quiet, just do the vichara. See the beauty about yourself. Satyam jnanam anantam. There is nothing that touches you. Not even old age, disease. Forget about death. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhante tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. You are that. You are that reality. Satchidananda. Brahman. That's who you are. So this is pointed out by the Shastra. So, even after the study, the reason that I'm not able to see this is because my mind is preoccupied on trivial things. But if I were to develop the ability to see, and going back to that example of the $10 million, there is a direct parallel, really a very beautiful parallel. Because even after you know that you've got lots of money in the bank, your poor attitude still retain. Like supposing somebody comes in and says, I'm a beggar, and says, I'm homeless, can you give me $5? And this person, because their attitude is still that I am also very poor, I cannot give you $5, will remain. You don't yet understand that you've got $10 million, even though technically you've signed and now you can go to the bank and get it. But it has not been absorbed yet. And so if somebody comes in and asking for a donation for $5, you'll say, no, I can't give it to you. Can't give it to you. I myself am very poor. And if somebody says, yeah, you got $10 million, he says, well, I don't know, stock market, this, that, or the other. Hey, it's not in the stock market, it's in bank. The bank may fail. So you've got all these kinds of things. You do not have the absorption of your riches. Same thing is true in the study of Vedanta, honestly. That the teaching says, hey, do you know who you are? Do you have any idea? And you say, oh, I don't know. This is what is written in the books here. I don't know. I don't feel that way. Well, feel that way. Why don't you feel that way? Oh, I don't know. There's so many things going on, and I know there are things going on, but just think about this. Think about it. So this is what the acharyas say as the answer. That if the Satchidananda does not need a proof, why don't this is the thing about why don't I feel it? So this is an interesting thing. Why don't I feel it? Because all my experiences are based on how I feel. I remember this so well. Swami Dayanand ji used to say that. He says, you know what? The Atma is not like a mango. It's not something you're going to experience like a mango. When you eat, for Indians, mangoes are the best fruit ever. We have this pedigree. And we are experts at mango. We know exactly what the differences are. You should see my wife. She has now trained her two young grandkids, 3 and 1, into appreciating mango. So much so, just the other day, there's a 3-year-old granddaughter that came. And my wife was very unhappy. She went to several shops to try to get a very good mango for Arya, for Sanya. And she couldn't find it because some mango was kind of like ripe from outside. Once she started cutting it, it was not there. So she told Sanya, you know, I don't have a good mango. Do you know what the Sanya said? This is just amazing. She says this is not the season for mangoes. So her dad, my son, has already told all this, that there is a season for mangoes. So this 3-year-old, my wife was just absolutely, she said, how did you know? So she said, okay, I can have blueberries and strawberries. Okay. So we are experts in mangoes. Swami Dayanand used to say, you know, this is what we are saying, that we are experience hunters. We want a good experience, mangoes. So Atma is not like a mango. It is what the experience, it blesses the experience, but even if the experience is not there, it is still there. So this kind of thinking, this kind of analysis requires, so this is the thing. So the result of all this is, really, it's a very beautiful analysis by Swami Akhandananda. Swami Akhandananda says, you don't require a proof and all that, but the reason you don't really appreciate that is because you have never thought about it, and even after it is pointed out, you refuse to think about it. And the more you think about it, the more you do that, you will say, oh my God, this is incredible. I am already what I think I want to be. There's nothing more that is possible for me because I am the only Sat Swarupa there is. Everything else is Badita Satyam. And even if the Badita Satyam is there as an appearance, it is just an appearance. So here the example of a blueness of the space is a very beautiful example, I think. Absolutely. When I saw that was, you know, before that, all the examples that I had seen were Rajju Sarpa examples, the snake and the rope and so on. But once Swami Akhandananda pointed out that this is a very interesting thing, because if you understand that the blueness is not a property of space, but it's an appearance. And the appearance it's not as though once you understand that this is the space, the blueness is not the property of the space, the blueness will disappear. It will not. It will stay there. But guess what? For an adult that understands that blueness is an appearance without any reality. Similarly, for for a person who has really thought about it and has fully understood it. The reason we are bothered by the world is because we have not fully understood the reality of who I am. So it's like an adult who knows that the space is an entity that cannot have any color in it. It has no particles, it has no light. The space is a very beautiful thing because it has no appearance. But yes, it is. It is there. So if there is any blueness, it is just an appearance. It has no reality. The only reality is the space. This is understood by the adults. So similarly here, to become an adult in Vedanta, spiritual wisdom, maturity, that's the word I was looking for. Spiritual maturity means understanding, my goodness, I am the only nature of Sat Chit and Ananda. Abhadita Satyam. Not possible to... You cannot, even if you try to remove yourself, you cannot. And what you are not, you can just close your eyes and it goes. How easily it goes. And certainly if you want to take a deeper, a deeper disappearance, then the deep sleep gives you that. This is an amazing fact. During the sleep, the whole world disappears. Wars disappear. The wrong candidate getting elected. Worry about everything just disappears. This is how fickle, how flimsy it is. So really the only lesson of this whole thing is do vichara. Think about it. So so I think we'll continue on with this second segment next week. I don't have enough time to really begin to do that. Let me see if I want to. Yeah, I think it'd be better to postpone it to next week. And the next topic that we will inquire into, which is so today we basically looked into why is it that I don't grasp the Satchidananda. It is because I don't think about it. And the next topic which is associated with this, is I should be excused because there is something about myself that I am confused about. Due to what? So there is a reason for it. And those reasons we will go into in the next class. And that is another topic altogether. But we are still in the second segment, which is Pramana segment. So first segment is Phalam, second segment is Pramanam, and the third one that we will take up next after this one sub-segment that we will go into completing next week is the segment on sadhana. So all these things will be important for us to, as a part of the review of the seventh, which we didn't even chant today. I'm very sorry. Let me do that. Na antah pragyam, na bahish pragyam, na ubhayatah pragyam, na pragyanaghanam, na pragyam, na pragyam, adrishtam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyapadeshyam, ekatma pratyayasaram, prapanchopashamam, shantam, shivam advaitam, chaturtham manyante, sa atma sa vigyeya. So as we look into the totality of this, we will look at the next segment. It's interesting, I was looking at, today is the 10th segment of this mantra. I'll probably have many more. So anyway, just on this very important mantra, we will continue to look into that. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. It's not coming. Let me go to YouTube. Purnat Purnamudachyate. Good to see you all. Maitri, the word kalpana, I think it is confusing. Kalpana really means thinking, imagination. It can also mean pure imagination. So here, the use of the word kalpana is to be understood with respect to the Atma, that with respect to the Anatma, it really is, it is an imagination, kalpana. But with respect to the Atma, even though it is a thought, but it is a thought which is which is, as I said, abadita means that it does not change. It would always be there. And eventually even the thought will disappear. We'll go into this more detail. It's a very technical subject. This is what is called Brahmakara Vritti. So this is the Vritti, it's a Vritti, in that sense it's a Kalpana. But Brahmakara Vritti is the one that dispels the fact that I am limited by the thought that I am really the unlimited being. And once the thought dispels the other thought, it itself disappears. So nothing is left, only the Atma is left. And while one is alive, then this vritti continues to dispel the other one, knowing that this is badhita and this is abadhita. Anyway, those are the kind of discussions that we will need to spend some time on. We will do that later. All right, and then just a reminder that next week we will not have the Saturday class because of Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you. So we will have the next Saturday class 2 weeks from today, and next Tuesday we have a lot of birthdays in the family, so I canceled that as well. So I will see you, whenever, the Tuesday after the next Tuesday. All right, have a wonderful holidays, all of you, and look forward to seeing you again. Hari Om.